This moment when you are confronted with a challenging situation, that is the moment that you face alone. But from this moment on, from the moment that it's happened, it does not have to be that way. It's a choice that we are making when we're in a place of strife, when we're going through change, when we have a lot of adjustments that we gotta make in our life. The choice of what do you need in a time of change? What's gonna support you? What's gonna help you feel better inside? What's gonna make your life just a little bit easier? That's what we talk about today. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I'm a proud author of Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. I'm a trauma survivor, and I'm here because I've been through many times in my life where I've ended up in difficult moments and tough times. I found myself in it, and I did not seek to support myself in the best way that I can. And that's created a lot of suffering in my life. And I realized that I can deal with it better. But also understand that these needs change. These needs evolve over time as you face different situations, you face them at different times of your life. And so these needs change. So what does it mean for us in the moment? Well, I believe that what's crucial is to consider the support from both your internal needs and also your external needs, right? So internal needs is the way that you feel, is your feelings, is whether you feel confident, how you deal with uncertainty, your self-esteem, right? All of those things are internal, but also the external things, right? Which is just the practical everyday realities of life, getting to and from places, just sustenance, your maybe family or home situation, right? How does it all fit in together? And what can we do to make it easier, right? That's what it's all about, right? It's all about how do you make things easier for yourself. And I really believe that so often we look at it from a perspective of supporting someone, or, we don't look at it as if we are our own best friend. Because if this is someone you really feel close to, if this is your partner, if this is someone you love, if this is your close friend, or someone you really care about deeply, how can I support this person, right? You become incredibly selfless, and you become more thoughtful and caring and empathetic. And sometimes you don't really take the moment to think about that way towards ourselves. Because listen, you've been through things. You've experienced so much on your journey. And I honor where you're at. I honor where you've been to. And I honor where you're going. And maybe, I don't know you, but maybe you are not giving yourself the true credit you deserve for things that you've been to. Because you have been forced to cope with the craziness and challenges of life. You've learned so much already about yourself, about the world. You've been able to stand up to whatever happens in life. You did your best. and you know so much about yourself. So the question I've got for you first and foremost is the question that I hope that you might be asking yourself, if this is a type of change or time of change that you're going through right now, is how can I support myself better in this time of change? How can I support myself better in this time of change? Right? How do you support yourself better? How could you do that better for yourself in a time of change that you might be experiencing right now? Right? That is the big question here, isn't it? Because the truth is, the people who know you, the people around you, the people who maybe truly care about you deeply, but no one is going to be as invested in your well-being, in your happiness, and your way of life as you are yourself. Isn't it true? Like no one. And a big part of that is because no one knows you the way that you know yourself. So you can discover what is it that you really need. Like what is it that helped you in the past? What is it that can help you right now? Is it spending more time on your own? Is it spending time in nature? Is there a particular person that you feel like when you're around them, they just make you feel more calm and more collected and more present? Is there some kind of a, daily or spiritual or a physical practice that might help you? Is it seeing, a mental health practitioner? Like yesterday I saw my psychologist, and it's always an incredibly supportive place to be because we have a great relationship, and she helps me so much. Right? So you gotta know that for you, that wasn't always a part of my life, but it is now, and I love that. I've been recently going through this, what I now call a near cancer experience, and there was found a growth in my throat that had to be removed, and there was a 70% chance that it was going to be cancer. And I feel incredibly lucky that it's not. But it was a scary time with a lot of uncertainty and going through this procedure, and our lives were just turned upside down. And I had to check in with myself and go, what is going to make sense for me now? What is going to make sense for like my life today? Because I've been through cancer before. I've had surgery, I've had chemotherapy, so I've been down that road. And what I realized that, that was 7 years ago, and I realized that today my needs have changed. And back then I felt let down by some of my closest friends at the time. And so I realized that today my needs were different. I realized that I needed to, what was really helpful to me was keeping up with just really meaningful tasks that I'm doing. My writing every day, I'm writing my play. I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing all sorts of kind of these little rituals that help me in the morning, that help me to feel good. That help me to feel, like I'm, in my own kind of in a good headspace. I go for a walk every day. I know that's helpful. So I keep doing the things and double down on doing things that I feel are important today. And I do them with that intention because I've asked myself, how can I support myself better in this time of change? And it was, double down on things that really are bringing meaning and focus into my life. So I can focus on writing the play. So I can focus on doing the podcast. so I can focus on the nature. And I don't have to focus on, what's going to happen if this is cancer. Like, how is my life going to change? I don't have to distract myself with reading things that end up stressing me out, like the news or social media that make me even more wound up. So I needed to tackle it in a different way today than I would have at a different time in my life. I'm not saying it's this is the way, or it's the best way, or it's the only way, but it's the right way for me at my life right now. So this is what I want to check in with you. If this is a time of change and you feel you need some kind of support, how can you support yourself better in this time of change? And I think it comes down to really 3 things that are important in what you're doing. In what you do, in how you think, and what you feel. So what you are actually doing, the activities of day-to-day life, what you do, how you think about things, and the way that you feel. And that's what I mean, like, what is it, like, this is kind of implementation, right, of that question. Like, what is it that I can do, physically do, to help me feel better? Like, for me, it was, okay, I know that every day I've got to do, physical exercise that will help me feel in better shape physically. So for me, it's either doing this kind of light weights, or for me, it's going for a jog. And I do it and I go, okay, I know that this is something I can physically do. I know what that is. I'm going to go out and do it. So let's do. In terms of think, what will help me to think better? And I know that for me, it's journaling. I know one thing that I was doing, I doubled down on doing, is journaling about, what's happening inside of me. So like I literally would, like, what, the day that I got the news that it might be cancer, I was like, okay, cool. I need to just write down, like, what are my biggest fears, my worries, my concerns. And I just started writing about it. And it helped me get those things out of my head. It helped me just to have a more clear understanding of my own thoughts, of what worries me, of what bothers me. Like, it wasn't just somewhere at the back of my mind. It was just out there. What is it for you that's going to help you think through things in a more clear way, in a way that is more helpful, more positive, more hopeful and supportive for you today? What is going to help you think through things better? What is it you can physically do that will be helpful to you? So do, think, and feel. What is it that you can do to feel better? Right? Like, I know that for me, it's like I was just decided that I need to spend even greater, be even more present with my kids, with my wife, with just being in nature. And I know doing those things, I kind of just said I need to really double down on it. And I started taking these longer walks in these botanical gardens where we live next door. And there I just really took time to embrace myself, or immerse myself, I should say, in just looking at these cool plants and trees and just thinking about how the cycle of life, and it made me think about what I want to write about. I want to write this novel about memory and just the nature of life, and just kind of having these images that were just helping me feel better. Spending time with my family, just being more present, just not thinking about what might happen, but just trying as my best. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but I tried my best to just be there and listen and just talk or just be present, just be in the moment. and trying that made me feel better? What is it that for you can help you feel better for yourself within your life, within what you are doing, so that you can influence or change? Right? Sometimes that's important to know what is that you can influence or change in your life in terms of what you do, how you think, and what helps you feel better in this moment today. And sometimes if you feel that sense of resistance, I think that's normal as well. Like that happens. That's part of life, right? We can help, but that's what happens sometimes. And I think if you have come up any kind of resistance, or maybe it's even someone suggests you do something in a particular way, I think it's important to acknowledge, does it come from a place of hurt, or does it come from a place of healing? Does it come from a place of hurt, or does it come from a place of healing? Let me say what I mean. So, for example, I was talking to my mom, and she said to me, like, maybe you should, talk, get more people involved, or get someone to come with you to, your appointments, and just bring people in, bring me in to just being around you more. And I had immediate sense of resistance. I was like, no, that's not going to be helpful to me. And then I started to think about, like, is this something that comes from a place of hurt? Because I have been hurt in the past. By people not being there for me when I needed them the most. Or does it come from a place of healing? And I realized that those two things are always at play, right? Especially for people like you and me who have been through trauma, have been touched by trauma. But at the same time, I thought that, yes, I have been hurt before, but I also learned how to deal with things in my own way. And in this moment right now, I feel I need to deal with things in a way that serves me today. It means I need to focus on my meaningful tasks. I need to focus on my creative activities, things that bring me joy and fulfillment today. That's going to be the key. And that made me reaffirm that, yes, this is the right approach. This is what I need. This is what I need. Here are things I need that are going to be helpful in what I'm doing, what I'm feeling, and how I'm thinking. Right? Do, think, feel. So that's always helpful to check in. Because if it does come more from a place of hurt, then you can say, well, maybe there's something that I can do to help me heal. Maybe there's something I can do differently that is going to be more supportive for me today, that's going to serve me better. My friend, I'm here to say to you that if you're going through a time of change, I hope that this is going to be a time that you can support yourself in finding what's right for you. In asking yourself, like, how can I support myself better in this time of change? What is going to help me in terms of what I do, how I think about things, the way that I feel? What changes do I need to make? What's going to be supportive? And if there is a sense of resistance or something not being right that comes up, it's just kind of checking in, like, whether this is coming more from a place of hurt or this is coming more from a place of healing. But ultimately, please know that sometimes we all feel alone in our struggle. And sometimes that's because we don't always get to share it with other people. People like you and me, people who've been through things. That's why we're in this together. And I believe we should be in each other's presence so much more to share. Because even though we're so diverse and your journey is unique and like anyone else's, we're all different. And yet so much of what we do, experience, feel, think, there's so much that we share. Because your story today is our story. And we're all learning how to trust ourselves more. What makes sense for us at this point in our lives? What helps you to reconnect with the person that you are today? And you're just your true authentic self of the person that you are. Because we all are in this together. And we all have the power to be happy, to seek just a greater level of clarity in our lives, to show up at our best, whatever it is that today, finding what it is that supports you in the way that you do and how you think and what you feel, so that you feel enough. You feel like you're doing things that are in line with the person and your values and your way of life. But also holding on to that hope. Just holding on to that hope that no matter how crazy and uncertain life may be, that things can and do change for the better. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. For more, visit powertobehappy.com. I want to thank you for being here.